Hey, what's going on, guys? It is the League Dad here with another episode of the All In Podcast. It's a podcast for casual leaguers, so we try to cut all the fluff, give you the most important and relevant information you need so that you can spend your valuable time playing and climbing that elo. So I am joined by my co-host Style on them 1, 2, 3, and we're going to be talking about some important stuff on League today. So you want to say what's up to everybody, Style?
Hey, what's up?
All right, sweet. So today we've got a really cool episode. We're going to be talking about the OP picks of 9.6. So pretty much this is the pick ban list. You either want to ban these champions, or if you are feeling adventurous and want to learn them real quick, maybe you want to pick them up because as of now they are pretty strong. Doesn't guarantee a win, however it might give you better chances of winning when you're climbing, and so we're going to do that. Now, one more thing I want to talk about is the format of the show. Now, the past couple ones have gone about an hour, but what I really want to do is I want to make these podcasts a little more concise, something a little bit different than what you're normally listening to. And I know if you want something really in depth, really into the numbers, then there's several league podcasts for that. But this is really for those that don't want to spend a lot of time listening to things that may not even be relevant for them. So what we want to do is we want to make ourselves different and just talk about seriously the most important things that will affect you and that can affect you and that you want to bring into your game. So with that said, let's cut the fluff and let's go ahead and begin the show. So this episode, like I said, it's all about the OP list, right? And so we're going to talk about 3 champs that are really strong right now in OP, and we'll discuss them a little bit. And then at the end, we have a possible sleeper that might be pretty good. And this is for 9.6. So our first one is, if you've been playing at all, then you probably have heard of this champion, Urgot. Josh, why would you say Urgot is on our list here for OP champs?
Why do you have the old picture, first of all? And
I don't know.
secondly,
I googled Urgot, and this was the only one with a transparent GIF. So it is the old one, but you guys get the picture. And most of y'all are listening anyway, so you can't see. But I do have a picture of Urgot. Apparently, it is the old Urgot.
okay, I think one of the reasons he's super strong is because his W is actually like disgusting now, and I think at final rank it's just a toggle. It doesn't even have a cooldown.
Yeah, that's right. And I didn't play old Urgot, but and I have tried him and played him since the I guess mini rework or the buffs or whatever you want to call it. And so if you don't know what his W does, is his W basically turns on and it shoots these missiles out of his legs. And especially if your opponent has been tagged with your Q or been, I believe, even just attacked, right, it'll lock onto them. Is that how it works? It also, like, he moves slower, but he does a ton of damage through his legs. Do you want to explain the W a little bit more in depth there for people who might not know, Style?
So basically it's just like it counts as an auto attack, and then what it does is it just keeps firing really, really fast. I know there used to be a bug on the PBE where if you press W, it just kept building up speed, so you could take Baron in like 2 seconds by yourself. And so basically, if you're standing in the range, you just keep taking fire from that. So it's really bad for range for melee champions, but with range champions, it's not as bad.
Yeah, definitely. And I've just been playing him recently, and the fact that it turns into a toggle when it's maxed is pretty crazy. Because I mean, you have the option to just leave it on or turn it off. It's funny because when I actually started playing him first, I didn't know that you could turn it off. And so I was like, everywhere I walk, this thing is just attacking things. It would attack the blast cone. It would attack the fruit plant. I was like, oh, wait, you can turn it off. So that was a big womp on me. But I had noticed that. And I feel like I think before there were a lot of variations in like runes and even builds. I think that you could play with him. I think maybe some of that has been wiped away, and it seems a little more definitive as to what might be the best way or best style to play him. For me personally, I think Conqueror is the way to go. especially with the W and just being able to proc it. What do you think? Do you think that's the same? Are you in agreement with that as far as Conqueror goes?
Yeah, Conqueror is by far like the best. You just press W and you automatically proc Conqueror.
Definitely. And I think before even like with the maxing of like his skills, some people would max either Q or W depending on what they were trying to do. I think people could even go, comment on some builds of his, but I think it's pretty definitive now that you want to take Conqueror because of his W. And you're pretty much wanting to max W first, because you get that toggle at max rank. So it's really good. Another reason it's really good is that I know Style hasn't seen this much on the EU, but I know in NA I've seen him jungle, and I think even a lot of top tier players have been playing him in jungle. So he's actually being flexed in top and jungle. And like I said, maxing W just makes it really insane. I'll just go down the rune tree as far as what I'm typically seeing on Urgot, and this is in the top lane. I have played a mid one game, but all the games that I've personally played have been pretty much easy to get stomps on, just because it's really good. You want to talk about some of the other changes before we get into that, though? Besides, we talked a little bit this on the patch breakdown, but his W obviously is changed. Do you want to talk about some of the other changes there, Style?
So personally, I haven't really played Urgot.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, I know they
so
they
the
increased the range on his R and the damage as
yeah,
well.
they increased
Um,
about like 900, so that's insane.
yeah.
And then so his shield is now his E, which is even better because
Yep.
now you can just press E, go in, and then that's when your shield activates. It's not
Yeah.
with your W.
Right. And even with they buffed also the initial piercing damage with his ult, because if you pierce them, then with that damage it's easier to get them into the execute range. So that kind of helps, and like I said, it's a much longer range. So overall, I feel like these are some big buffs for him. I'm not sure why they did that, but he does really feel strong. So if you're looking for somebody to play in the top lane or even jungle, you definitely want to at least try playing Urgot. Now, it sounds like they're going to be nerfing him in the next patch or so, but while you can, definitely pick him up. I do think it's going to be a champ that you can easily climb with. Get some elo in there, get some LP in while you can. But typically, you're going to want to go Conqueror with Triumph, Tenacity, and the Coup de Grace. And then secondary is always, I feel like, kind of personal preference, but if you want, you can take inspiration with the Biscuit Delivery, Time Warp Tonic to kind of get those sustain in lane. Start with what do you call it, the potion? Is it Corrupting Potion? Is that what it's called? The
Yeah,
one that gives you
corrupting
mana.
potion.
Corrupting Potion. So that'll help you get through laning phase. And then, like I said, level 1, you probably still want to get Q. I don't know. Some people start W still. I still like to start Q, then E, just in case you get ganked, you have somewhat of an escape there. And then after that, work on maxing your W. Do you have any other thoughts as far as the runes or skill path order their style, or are you pretty much agreed with that?
No, that's pretty okay. I
Okay.
think you've gone over like the main points.
Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. So definitely pick them up. Build path. Just go with the recommended builds. Honestly, you could build a bunch of things, and I think you'll still be okay. So don't worry too much about the builds. All right. Here's the next champ that we had on the list, Kayle. We talked about this a little bit. Style, why don't you get into why this champ is on our list for OP in 9.6?
Yeah, so Kayle is just like one of those champs where you get to level 16, not even 16, level 15 with your elixir, and then you're just like unkillable. You can pretty much do anything. I know I played her even in NA with like my 150 ping.
Oh,
I
I was
pressed
there.
E and then killed like 2 people, and it was just like you can pretty much do whatever you want and still win the game, as long as you don't get too behind in laning phase.
Yeah, and I think she's supposed to be strong in the late game, right? But I think the problem that people are having, like with her being OP, as far as her being OP, is that even though yes she will miss minions, she will get behind. It almost feels like it doesn't even matter. So it's like her early game is weak, yes, but yeah, I feel like you don't feel it that often. You don't feel it that much because there's so many ways for her to sustain herself. And in fact, there's people playing around with different builds, even with AP, to get the early sustain and survive the laning phase because she scales with levels really, and that's where her strength comes because she literally turns into a monster by the time she gets to level 16. So it's almost as if you just got to survive. And even her early game doesn't feel as weak as it probably should be, I think. And I think that's where most of the complaints are. But as far as just looking at numbers, like her win percentage is super high. I believe it's above 55%. And even her matchups, if you look at her matchups, every single matchup is above 50%, even some of her harder ones. And so that goes to show you that right now, you could almost blind pick her. And you could be fine as long as you know how to play around her early game. And I think people are actually figuring that out. And I think you had mentioned earlier in an earlier episode there, Style, that your brother was playing Kayle, and he would just give up waves, but it was okay because even if you lose minions, it's like you're still gonna eventually catch up. So if you do decide to pick Kayle up, which I think you should try Kayle, even if you just want to play in rank flex or something, because she is so strong. But just remember that early game, don't get tilted, give up minions, don't feed, and I think you'll definitely be able to make some noise towards the later game. And what would you say are her key spiking points? Style, would you say it's strictly levels and items? What would you say are her big pop-off points that you maybe can look to start playing a little more aggressive?
So basically, it's not even that you scale off levels, it's how many points you put into your skills. So that's why you can get the elixir. I think it's elixir of skill, and it gives
Yes.
you one extra point into your thing. And then, so basically, you can, depending on when you get that. So say you get it pre-6, you become strong at level 5. If you get it pre-10, you can be strong at level 10. If you get it pre-15, then you become strong at level 15. That's just all RNG though.
Yeah, because I
I
think the
think,
rune that you take
yeah,
is Klepto, right?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So then, even so I was watching the EU LCS, the LEC.
Yeah,
Nemesis picked it the
I
last
saw
game,
that. Mm-hmm.
and he played it with a Blade of the Ruin King and Ginzu's Rage Blade, and he literally got a penta in their fountain.
I saw that. I was just shaking my head the whole time.
Yeah, so you can pretty much do whatever the hell you want after you hit 15, and it won't even matter. This is after she got nerfed, right?
Yep,
So
yep. This is after quote
she's
unquote
probably good.
nerfs.
So on surrender at 20, she's getting more nerfs.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. So she's OP now. You can expect nerfs, but again, until those happen, this might be the time. Get some games in. Play a couple of games in norms or something. Just get used to her. But again, to be honest, she is so strong right now. I've heard people saying like you could literally blind pick her, and as long as you play safe enough. Get those, hopefully get some RNG procs by, getting those elixirs of skill, leveling up those skills. Once you get to certain points, certain levels in the game, you become pretty strong. And there's so much. I feel like there's a lot of variation in her builds too. So a lot of ways you can go there. So definitely interesting pick there. Did you have any last minute thoughts on Kayle, Style?
Yeah, don't, what is it? Don't play her in ADC.
Yeah, I think she's. I would add on that don't play her in the jungle too because you really
And
unless
definitely
you're
don't play her support.
yeah, definitely. So mid top for sure. Um yeah, support ADC and jungle definitely don't play her there.
I would say
Uh
ADC you can get away with. ADC you can get away with.
yeah, I think you could get away with it. I wouldn't personally do it, but if you want the best chance of success with her, play her top and mid. Jungle,
Yeah.
unless you have laners that can really get a lot of priority and can help you, maybe if you get invaded, then maybe you play her in the jungle. But a lot of times, if you're gonna get invaded on, you're gonna get crushed, and so I would not play her jungle because you'll just be a burden on your laners too as well.
You
If
can
you
play
need jungles.
anything bot lane though. if you know the matchups.
It's true. It's true. You can. I mean,
At least mages. I'm just
yeah,
gonna say at
yeah,
least mages.
for sure. I
Mages and
mean,
Irelia.
we played Brand Nami. I mean, Brand
Yeah,
Baraka, right?
they played Vel'Koz in the LEC.
Did they? I did not see that. Was that
Yeah,
Fnatic or was
no,
that a
that
different?
was a different team. It was Kobe, so Splice.
Oh, okay. Spice. Wow. Yeah. I
Splice
mean,
against
anything can
SK.
go
It was
right
pretty
now.
good.
I kind of like that though. I guess that's a discussion for. It's a whole different discussion, but the fact that bot lane is pretty diverse is cool. It's cool to see. So I like it. All right, let's move on to the third champion on our list. This is the last champion that we actually had on our list, but it's Hecarim top. So I've actually played a couple of games Hecarim top. I don't play Hecarim often. I used to play him when I was, a quote unquote jungler. And I like Hecarim a lot because he's a freaking horse. He's fast. I mean, what's there not to love about playing Hecarim in the jungle? But more so, I think now because of the buffs to his Q. And even again with Conqueror, you can go Hecarim top. Now, I will say that there are definitely bad matchups for him up top. But for the most part, you can play him pretty safely up top. I think there are a lot of things he can do really well. He heals a tremendous amount. I mean, you have Conqueror, his W also gives you some healing. His laning phase isn't that bad, especially with the Q buffs, and with the cooldown. And there's so many things good about him. You don't even have to take flash. You can take teleport ignite. Just a lot of things you can do. Anything you want to add to that style on Hecarim top?
I haven't seen much Hecarim top again. They don't play in EU much, but I watched what is it? The playoffs between TSM.
Yeah,
I know Broken Blade played it twice. So
yeah,
I do
definitely.
think there's like room for counters because in
Mm-hmm.
that game Akali was like destroying Hecarim in the 1v1.
Yep, definitely. I
So
mean, he played well enough, and obviously there's team coordination there to still make the Hecarim work.
yeah,
But he was in lane getting crapped on by Akali. And I know when I played against the
yeah.
Hecarim top as Renekton, I was pretty much crapping on him too. What else? What else did you have on Hecarim top?
So Conqueror I would say is like the go-to rune because you can just stack it
Yeah.
insanely. The thing is you can bring Ignite on Hecarim, so you have that extra combat summoner,
Mm-hmm.
and that's another thing that makes him so strong. And he just won't die, right? Because he'll just run
Yeah.
away. Press R.
Exactly. Yep. Yep. You can get away with your mobility. I mean, even straight up fighting though. Again, like I feel there have been situations where there'd be one or two. I'd be against two people or so, and you think you'd be dead, but you have a lot of pretty good sustain with the Conqueror, with your double W going up, and then just spamming that Q, and then if you need to, you got that E to run away. But definitely Conqueror is the rune to take. You could take Triumph, the Tenacity one, and I think you could go a couple other things for the either Last Stand or Coup de Grace, whatever you want to do there. But inspiration or secondary, I mean, you could play inspiration or other things, I guess, to help with the laning phase because he does take up quite a bit of mana early on still. So if you want to go the biscuit delivery, time warp tonic route, starting corrupting potion, etc., just for the early laning. But again, he's pretty good in the top lane. Do you have any counter tips if you come up against a Hecarim top style?
Um,
Or I know you said you haven't seen much of them in EU, but do you have anything off the top of your
yeah.
head?
Strong early game champs. So Renekton is good with Ignite. Olaf is pretty good. I think I've seen Hashinshin play like so much Olaf top with
Yeah.
Conqueror. Akali again is strong.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
think all those champs. I think the champs that outscale him as well, like Jax, maybe
Yep.
Fiora, good duelists.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. And I know it's funny because most of the champs that we picked today were, I mean, I guess primarily top jungle. A Kayle you could go mid or whatever, but a lot of it seems to be in solo lanes. Top lane, primarily. But it just seems like there are a lot of strong champions in the game, but we wanted to keep it short and simple. And so these were the three that we put on our list. I know there's a bunch more we could have dived into, but I wanted to make sure that we just hit the ones that are the most important. That way you could just be aware of it. If you want to pick them up, you can spend just 5 minutes, learning some stuff, run them in, practice tool, run them in some normal games first, and then, try your luck on them. I mean, you might actually get some free wins here before they get any kind of nerfs. So definitely worth a shot. But we wanted to put those in there, but we do have a sleeper OP, one that might not be quite as apparent, or maybe you've discovered it on your own. But Josh actually has something that he wants to present. What's your hidden OP, sleeper OP for 9.6 that you've been finding a lot of success with, Style?
Was this my first one or my second one? I had two, right?
Yeah, you could talk about both of them.
Okay, so my first one would be Jinx, and my second one would be Galio and Calista, but only together. I wouldn't say. I think Galio's still strong on her own, on his own. Oh no, I don't think Jinx is sleeper. I just think she's a really good. I don't think any of these are like too sleeper. Maybe Galio. I don't know. I'm not a big Galio player, but I would say, yeah, I don't think any of these are sleeper, but they're pretty strong.
Pretty strong. Okay. So you would say Jinx. Why is Jinx so good right now?
Jinx is just she's got like not many bad matchups. I would say her bad matchups are like Draven, Lucian. Even I played against two Lucians today, and even if you get to like a point where you have like 3 items, it's all good.
Okay.
So I just think Jinx is overall like a really strong pick with like a enchanter, or even with like a really good front line.
It's like a lot of tanks or something. Meat shield.
Yeah, like a Braum, maybe an Alistair, Galio again.
I personally do like supporting Jinxes again because, if you can keep them alive, they are just they're tough to deal with. What do you usually go as far as runes and items?
I usually go lethal tempo, and then with overheal, alacrity, and coup de grace, and then I go celerity, gathering storm,
Gotcha.
and then I go usually adaptive force, and then MR or armor depending on what I need.
Yep.
And
what about builds?
Builds, I usually rush boots. Not many people rush boots, so either berserkers or ninja tabby depending on the situation. Or rarely I'll go merc treads if like they have like a lot of CC. But I almost always build merc sim, so it doesn't really matter if they have CC or not.
Okay.
So then I go IE for sure, and then I always do Runan's Shiv because they buff Shiv, they buffed Runan's.
In that order, is that what you do? Runans and then Shivs?
Yeah, Runan's and then Shiv, and then Merc Sim, and then Last Whisper.
When do you build the QSS?
Oh, that's after. So if I need the QSS early, I'll build IE Runans and then QSS. If I don't need it,
yeah.
If it's just like so sometimes it's just like a Morgana or a Thresh, then I wouldn't build it early because those are like dodgeable skill shots. But if it's something like what is it? A Warwick, a Malzahar for sure. Malzahar is like the worst one of all because you can't even dodge it.
Yeah, that's true. He almost
Lissandra,
demands QSS.
Lissandra as well. Even Zoe, I would say, because the thing about Zoe is you can't see it coming because it comes from over the wall.
Yeah, definitely.
But apart from that, I would always go my 2 crit items, and then I'd usually go Merc Sim, or I would go Last Whisper depending on if they have tank.
Thanks. Okay. All right, let's talk about your second kind of strong combo, which is, and you put a disclaimer that this wasn't just on their own, but together this is a strong. And I feel like I've seen this in pro play is Calista Galio.
Everyone
TSM, maybe that I saw.
Yeah, TSM played it yesterday. They played Galio Calista in the last. Was it the last game? No, second last game. So
and why exactly is this so strong?
So basically, Galio has really good engage, and so what you can do is you can get like a double engage with taunt. You can do it from just like a normal taunt, or you can do flash taunt. You can even do Calista out into taunt into her
Right.
dash.
Oh gosh, yeah, you're right.
So that is like 3 layers of CC, and I don't think anyone escapes 3 layers of CC.
So
Especially
are
they
you
have someone like
saying that
Jinx.
me and you should be duoing this?
The thing is,
What's
with
up, mate?
Calista,
Yeah.
with really high ping, it's almost impossible
It's impossible. I know.
because the jumping, even on like, what is it, 60, 70 ping, it's really hard to jump around.
Yeah.
You like, I play on 30 and it's okay, but like,
Yeah,
so I
I
think
think
yeah,
if someone what? Go ahead.
if someone can like pull off Calista, it's pretty easy. So the Calista player has to be really good, but the Galio doesn't have to be as good because Calista picks
perfect.
the engage. Galio
Perfect for
doesn't
me.
pick the engage.
It's perfect for me then to play support because I don't have to be the main person. I'll see if Dan wants to do it. Give it a go. Normal game. I don't know if he plays Calista, but I kind of want to try it now.
It's a good
Just
champ
for
to
fun.
learn. I remember when Calista came out, she was actually broken.
Oh yeah, no, I
She
remember
didn't have,
that.
yeah, she didn't have the 90% on auto attacks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You could press E and get all your mana back at once.
Yeah, I
That was
remember
great.
that those days. I actually, for a hot second, became a Callista main. I think that lasted for 3 days, but I think at some point I've declared myself a certain champ main for a little bit.
I call it, what is it, flavor of the week?
Flavor of the week. That's right. For my case, flavor of the 2 days, 3
3
days, and
days.
then reality sinks in. I'm like, okay, it's too hard. All right, so that's our list right there, and you know, keep it short and sweet. You got Urgot, you got Kayle, you got Hecarim, and then if you're in the ADC position, a Jinx. And if you want to have a duo partner, why don't you try Calista Galio? Make sure you're not totally bad though at Calista, and make sure you guys are tight, have tight synergy there. Try it out, see how much fun you can have with that. But did you have any final thoughts for listeners as they head into the rest of 9.6? Anything they should take advantage of or maybe watch out for as they try to climb?
I would say Kayle is like one of the top things you should be looking at because she's not hard and you can pretty much like dominate solo queue with it.
Yeah, and I think just to not delve into it too much, but I think there's a lot of top laners that aren't that hard to play that are really good right now. Jax, Urgot again, Renekton isn't even that hard. It's hard to get really good at Renekton, but as far as playing him at a decent level, like it's not that hard. I would say the only one that is really good, but also I think requires pretty good skill is Riven. But there's just a lot of top laners that I think don't require that much. So yeah, definitely. I think that's a good thing to remember. Kayle, pretty easy to play. Yep.
Top is just resident sleeper though.
Top.
You don't do much. Yeah,
That's
just the whole lane. It's just like every champ in that lane is like resident sleeper. Like think about like all the champs that are in top lane. Jax is boring.
Oh yeah.
Renekton's not bad.
Renekton's not bad. I mean, I've had a lot of fun playing him too. I mean, you guys who have watched me on stream, I've been playing him for the month of March, so I liked him a lot. But yeah, he was just fun. He wasn't one of those champs that I felt like, you know, he's not like Yorick where you just kind of farm your Q. He's not like Nasus, you just don't stack. He's not like, you know, I mean, even Kayle in the beginning, you're just trying to stay alive. Or Jax just scaling. He was actually a champ that you could actually, you know, do stuff with. So I think that was what I liked about him with Renekton. But I think that's gonna wrap it up. Did you have any last thoughts there, Style? I know Kayle.
No, that's about it.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. Like I said, short and sweet. Get back on the rift. Try not to be toxic. And good luck on your climb. That's going to do it. Catch us next week, next Monday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. But until then, good luck on the